Hey, what is up? Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1233. Trade deadline is this week. Trade deadline is tomorrow. My Chicago Cubs made a deal yesterday. We'll talk about the Christopher Morel trade, why I think it's a great trade for the Chicago Cubs. Many people, it seems split, seems very divided. Terrible trade, great trade. Not too many people in between. Is it a buy move for the Cubs or is it a sell move for the Cubs? That's also remains to be seen, in my opinion. We'll talk about the trade deadline and my thoughts on yesterday's Cubs trade. I do want to start off with some bad news. You're going to pile on the bad news, I guess, if you're a huge Christopher Morel fan and a Cubs fan. A little later today, we're having some biscuit issues. I think we're down to just days with Biscuit. As you might remember, we did have to take her in overnight, a week and a half or almost 2 weeks ago. She bounced out of it. But then it's just kind of been a lot of roller coaster ride here over the last few days. Friday night, she was just super lethargic, some labored breathing. Thought about taking her in to the emergency vet on Friday night. It's one of those things. I've never experienced this. My wife has never experienced this. It's almost like having a kid. And I'm not comparing owning a dog to having a kid, so chill. But in decision making, it is. What do you do? We've never experienced this. If you've never had a kid, you come across first things that you've never done. Same with end of life for a pet. So I said, let's just give it. Let's just, because it was late at night. Let's just put her in bed, see how she is. Like, she was just lethargic. It wasn't, it didn't to me seem super bad. Saturday morning, she woke up perky and took her out to go potty Saturday morning. She took her pills and she was good. She was good. And Saturday, I can't remember, what did we do? Did we make salmon? I think we made salmon Saturday, and she was good throughout the day. And then Sunday yesterday started out okay. And then I could tell towards the afternoon, she was getting super lethargic again. And then I think it was around 7:00 last night, she like looked up and she like was craning her neck in a weird way. It's like, that's not normal. Now she was like sleeping like in a weird way. So I don't know if it was just like she had a kink in her neck and she was trying to stretch. I don't know. But my wife was like, that's weird. She got up and went over and she was just like off. It's like, let's take her in. This is not, especially after Friday night. And then now let's take her in. We took her into the emergency vet and all of a sudden she popped back to life and she's like, we didn't have her on a lead. There was nobody else in there. At least in the, in the waiting area. So she was just kind of walking around and like, she was alert, perky, like, get me the hell out of here kind of. She was just sniffing around, and there was like a huge wait at the vet. So it's like, you know what? She's perky. We already have an appointment later this morning. She also was diagnosed in her latest with lymphoma. So either one or the other will get to her. We know we're on borrowed time right now. So it was almost like, okay. So right now we're at the point where we just don't want her to go through pain, and if whatever it takes to make her not be in pain. So I don't know how much time we have. It's it could be a day, could be might not be with us tomorrow morning. So we're just kind of preparing for that. So that's the bad news. Thank you for everyone in the chat. Appreciate that. So we have talked. I think we are going to get in the near future. We're going to get possibly 2 dogs. And I think we're going to go Biscuit's a Havanese, which is kind of like, the funny thing is whenever I am terrible. I am terrible with dog breeds. I know names. I know Rosie lives across the street. I have no idea. And I've talked about this numerous times. I'm repeating like my dad used to do. Told me a story, and Dad, you've told me that story 13 times. So I know dog names. So Rosie and the Chihuahuas, which the Chihuahuas are Rowdy and Julius, and their owner, I still don't know his name. And so we were talking. He was asking about Biscuit because he knows what Biscuit's situation is, and we were just talking, and he was talking about his dog that passed away, and he was talking about like Rosie's the very outgoing, and I think she's a terrier of some sort, like maybe an Irish terrier. I don't know. But so I was telling my wife, and because my wife's met them, and she's like, and so I said Rosie gets like 2 hours like during the day, like 2-hour walks. And my wife's like, what does he do for a living? Like and I'm like, I don't even know his name. We haven't got that far. I don't even know the guy's name, let alone what he does for work. But I know everything about his dogs. And I kind of like to keep it that way with my neighbors. I'd rather know about your dogs than you. Sorry. So I think we're going to get, every little dog now, like I didn't know what a Havanese was before I met my wife, and Biscuit was about a year old when my wife and I started dating. And I'm like, oh, Havanese, I've never heard of that. Now, 10 years later, it's like 11, almost 11 years. And now it's like every little dog that looks like Biscuit, I think, oh, is that a Havanese? No, it's a Shih Tzu. No, it's a Brussels Griffon. So she kind of looks like those. I think Brussels Griffons are a little, they got maybe a smashed face, I think. But Shih Tzu. So I think if you're unfamiliar with a Havanese, it's similar to a Shih Tzu. So we're gonna get once this passes, and I think everybody grieves differently, and I think it's not sudden, so we've had time to swallow reality of this is the end. And it's been going on 2 months before it was actually the estate sale weekend when I realized, and then I think my wife realized maybe a couple days later at the vet appointment, but I knew at that Friday night, like this is probably not going to get, because we knew she had a heart condition several months ago, and so she's been on medication for several months. But it's declined, significantly. So we've had time. We've had a couple months now to, grieve and prepare for the end. It's still going to be upsetting, obviously, very upsetting. I think we're going to get 2 Havanese, and from the same person that we got Biscuit from. Cooter says he has a Shitz-a-lot you can adopt. Oh God, I don't know. And it's like when now it's like I'm gonna compare every dog. Like Biscuit was just I shouldn't speak in past tense. So easy, like just chill, like super chill, and I think comes with the breed. I'm a big fan I love Westies. Like I think they're the cutest dog. They have so much personality, but also they have so much personality. And it's like Havanese, like most Havanese are just chill. And so hopefully we can get a chill dog or 2 chill dogs. All right. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to skip through everybody in the biscuit comments. We'll just kind of I'll read them. So thank you. I appreciate everybody. Steve, Gundy, Philly, Brian, Matty Ice, John, Victor, Cooter, T206, Todd. Thank you. Duke, Orlando. Thank you. Let's say our good morning. Steve's in the house. What's going on? George is here. What's happening? Bill Simus in the house. Good morning. Philly Joe, what's going on? Holmes 168. Good morning. Duke's in the house. Todd's in the house. Christian is here. Good morning. Victor says it's a great pickup. We're going to talk about it. So we've got a few Cubs fans. Victor, Steve, Matty Ice is here. Cooter says good morning. Can't wait for the 2025 national tip videos. Wondering what type of shoes to wear. Spoiler alert, wear comfortable ones. Philly Joe says, great trade in my opinion. Yes. So we're going to talk about the trade, the Cubs trade. Kyle says, good morning. Caught the replay of yesterday's show while listing cards. Great conversation about store categories. Yes. Thank you for everyone in the chat and for a couple of those that shared their stores. So we brought those up on screen. Some good stuff. So if you missed it yesterday, check it out. We talked store categories. Orlando is here. What's happening? Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. Low Roller Scratcher wants to know about GameStop. I don't know anything about GameStop and what they're buying, so I can't answer that. Let's see. Where are we at? Peter's in the house. Good morning. Cooter's got a shits a lot we can adopt. Good morning, Tracy. Mikey, what's happening? I hope your sales are going well. Sales have been wonderful. I just checked in here. I'm going to shoot some offers. By the way, if you ever receive offers, if you want like multiple cards out of my eBay store, the 25% off 7 cards or more, items or more, is only valid at regular price. So if you're watching items in my store, if you're watching like 10 items and I send you an offer, don't accept the offer. Just ignore it or decline it and buy at regular price, because then you'll get a better discount at 25% off. So I just sent out some 10% offers. My sales have been great. In fact, since when did we get back from vacation? The 13th. Yeah. So it was, the 13th that night. And so the funny thing is, like, you look at my bar graph and it's like way down. And then all of a sudden, Saturday, July 13th, which ironically I was just back. In fact, I think my out of office on eBay was still set to on until Sunday or Monday. But eBay just knows. They're like, oh, he's getting close to home. Let's crank his eBay store back up, because it was significantly higher than over the course of my 2 weeks away. And then it's been, I kind of have a baseline that I set, and Sunday the 14th it was above. In fact, since July 14th, so that's a solid 2 weeks, I've only had 2 days below my target. So 2 out of like 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 2 out of 15 are below my target. And actually, they weren't too far below. They were fairly close to my target. This weekend, pretty good sales. Friday was my lowest sales day since Tuesday. Tuesday through Sunday, Friday was my worst. And that's I think that's kind of typical. Fridays are one of the, at least historically for me, one of my worst sales days. But yesterday was a good day. I listed some stuff yesterday that went really fast. I listed a Tom Brady 50 card lot. Now, I listed a 50 card Tom Brady lot back a couple months ago, and it took a while. It took a couple weeks to sell. This Tom Brady lot sold in like an hour. I think now this lot that I sold yesterday did have some of the earlier cards, like from 2005, like not second year, certainly not rookies, not second year, and I don't even think any third year. I think the oldest might have been 2005, maybe 2004. But it sold right away. I've got a Michael Jordan lot that just went live yesterday. Those usually sell, usually take a week to get those moved. The 84 Topps Dan Marino rookie that I found in the latest Goodwill palette, it's got a light crease. The corners are soft. I listed it for $17.50 and it sold in like 30 minutes. I also listed a couple 92 Bowman rookies, Mariano Rivera, Mike Piazza. That came from the Goodwill palette. There's an Aaron Rodgers rookie that I just posted. That came from a previous Goodwill palette. What else did I list yesterday? I think that was I did another refractor lot. So thanks to Cooter's advice on the team lots for refractors. I sold the Giants refractor lot last week. I've got a Royals refractor lot listed, and I just listed a Yankees refractor lot. So those are up. I listed some other random. I think I listed some Michael Jordan singles. I don't know if they've actually hit my eBay store yet, because typically it takes like 24 hours for the lots. For some reason, pop up immediately, but the singles on some Michael Jordans. Now the 91 Upper Deck Baseball White Sox Michael Jordan. I listed that last night, and that posted right away. But like, it's funny, like I'll list a 92, 93 Upper Deck and it doesn't post right away. It's weird on how eBay does that. I think Kobe's another one that eBay kind of waits. It's shadow banned for like 24 hours and then they populate it. So yeah, eBay sales are going pretty good here recently. And of course, a lot of the 70 singles, those are still, and I'm still going through, I'm pretty much through most of the football and basketball. I think there's some random football and basketball, but I might just save that for, some of it's going to go into dollar boxes at my next show, which is in Janesville, Sunday, August 11th. I did mention last week I probably won't be doing quarter boxes in Janesville. I'm going to work on dollar boxes. That's going to be my priority leading into that show. I kind of want to start fresh with new inventory, kind of like right now. So just kind of drawing the line in the sand. This is going to be the new inventory. Depending on how much dollar boxes I get, because I've got plenty of space in Janesville, I might bring out the old retired quarter boxes and have those as dime boxes. So I will have I did have a request for hockey, so I will have hockey. And then some of the other stuff I might bring out, some other random sports like UFC, some other stuff for Shane. I know Shane's looking for some of that stuff. So that's Janesville, Sunday, August 11th, Janesville, Wisconsin. So save some of the vintage for dollar boxes and future quarter boxes. And then I've got a lot of base. I've got, I think I have a 4-row box plus of 70s baseball still to list. 70s baseball, there's a lot more of it out there, so it's a slower roll. That's why I wanted to get the vintage football and basketball listed. I do regularly sell 70s baseball, but it also tends to sit longer. It's got a longer shelf life, so I'm looking for that quick turnaround, and football, basketball gets me that quicker turnaround. So I may kind of hold off on the baseball, and just since I've been so heavy on 70s here over the last couple of weeks, I may go back and try to sprinkle in batches using Car Dealer Pro of some of the modern stuff. Hey, speaking of Car Dealer Pro and eBay, so eBay has now in beta an AI identifier for cards. The funny thing is there's a thread on the Blowout forums regarding this. I don't think it's supposed to be talked about for those that are using it. I think there's like an embargo, but somebody that tried it out didn't read the email from eBay, I guess, and posted screenshots. I assume, because usually when they do beta, you're not supposed to talk about it. I'm not in beta for this testing, so I'm going to talk about it. And based on what the Blowout Forum said. And I'm just going to bring it up so I don't ramble and misspeak. What struck me as funny, though, is the people that start using Car Dealer Pros like, this sucks, this is terrible, nothing identified, it's hard to use. But people that are using eBay's AI bulk lister are like, sounds great. Testing it some more, works really good. I had to edit a lot of modern cards and it couldn't recognize chrome inserts like Future Stars. Like, I don't understand why does Car Dealer Pro suck if it doesn't identify 100% of your cards, but eBay's 50%, or if you're doing modern Topps Chrome, 0%, and you love it. I don't get it. Let's see. Where are we at? Paul says, I just tried it with some 90s base inserts. It was nearly perfect. I'm really impressed so far. Biggest downside is that it took forever for the AI to run. I waited a few minutes, then went and ate lunch, and when it was gone, it was done when I got back. Seems perfect for small and casual sellers. So I haven't used it, but I think it's a good alternative. Is it gonna right now, based on the testing? Now, could it compete with Car Dealer Pro and Chronazio? Absolutely. But based on the early results, I think what Paul said there, it's going to be good for small casual sellers. But if you want to really run bulk in volume, you're going to have to go with Car Dealer Pro or Chronazio if that's your cup of tea. Let's see. Glass of Water on Blowout Forum says, I'm liking it. It's pretty accurate, as you say. I tried Chronicles Baseball, and it identified all of them correctly, then did a mix of different sets. It was about 80% accurate. I was able to edit. I tried 14 cards and went smoothly. I'm going to try to do a big batch of more than 20, see how it works. Let's see. Swipe 79 said, I don't think it can do new stuff. Just tried a stack of 20 plus Topps Chrome refractors, and it was 0 for 20. Let's see. So we're talking about eBay's bulk lister. It's in beta. I think it has to be, I think you have to do, it's invite only, I think. So that's beta for the eBay bulk listing. Let's go back to some chats. Let's see. Matty Ice says, what do you think about the trade? We're going to talk about that. I think it's a great trade. John says you should get a second e-bike. I don't know about that. Steve says this trade feels like a cross between an upgrade and the Candelario trade from last year. That's kind of a good analysis. I like that. John says just to keep your other e-bike company in the garage during those long stretches between trips. Let's see. Gundy says, I like the trade, but I also love Morel. I am in that camp. I don't really love Morel the player. I love Morel the person. But a 196 DH, come on. He doesn't have a position. Joe Caprino says, hated to see Morel go. He has such a great personality and great with the kids. My son was not happy. He wanted to say the F word to Jed Hoyer. I still want to say the F word to Jed Hoyer. I still want to say that, but I think it's a good trade, but I still think Jed Hoyer sucks. Orlando says, bad trades. My Marlins traded Jazz, our future again. Yes. I'm sorry for Marlins fans. That sucks. Jazz Chisholm traded to the Yankees. Brian says, Morel was fun. Next. Jody's in the house. Good morning. Matty Ice says, agreed. I like the trade, but we'll miss the energy that Morel brought to the team. I agree. I'm going to miss him. I like the trade, but I'm going to miss him. And we'll talk more about it. John says, Cubs fans need to pace themselves. There's another 92 years until their next ship. George says, I'm going to buy a CT scanner and set it up at the National next year. Undercut the competition that's doing it for $70 a pack. I'll do it for $20.25. Let's see. Brian says, just George, I will set up next to you with a warm iron and will reseal all vintage packs that can be scanned. I like it. You guys are going to rake it in. Low Roller says, you are running out of eBay free listings. Getting close. I was already looking into the Anchor store yesterday because so my eBay free listings. So right now, and again, I've mentioned this before, I'll say it again. You can tell how many free items you have. Scroll on your main seller hub within eBay. Seller hub. Scroll to the bottom and under promotional offers, that will give you all of your listings you have remaining. So auctions, I've used 8 auctions this month. I have 492 remaining in that, and it says time period. So July 1st through August 1st. Premium store subscription, I have 6,526 remaining until August 1st. And the additional 50,000, I've already run out of those. And eBay just, you can't control what goes into which category, and it doesn't matter. They're all free when it comes to the additional and the premium store subscription listings. So I'm at 6,526, but then we still have a couple days remaining. I have 1,930 listings ending today. Of course, they'll be relisted. So basically 4,500, and then that goes the 30th, and we still have the 31st. So I'm gonna be very close to 60,000 this month. So at some point in August, I'll probably jump to the Anchor store subscription. The main takeaways with the Anchor store is the additional listings, but comes at a price. It's $300 per month, and you only get an additional 40,000 free listings. So 100,000 total free listings. Another benefit is the store supplies. It goes from $50 per quarter to $150 per quarter. And then there is direct customer service, which has really fallen over the last couple of years. It's basically not even a perk anymore from what I've read from Anchor store subscribers. So I think I will be making that jump. I just don't see another viable option for what I do on the other platforms at this point in time. That could change. But at this point in time, I've also kind of I have a feeling I can get either more free listings or potentially unlimited listings if I play my cards right. So that's kind of that's always been in the back of my mind. And I think there could potentially be more of a chance now with yesterday or this weekend's news of Burbank taking all of their listings off eBay. They lose 2.8 million listings and a lot of sales, more so than listings, the sales that come with those millions of listings. John is telling Low Roller Scratcher to shut the hell up or he's going to get timed out, because we don't want to talk about GameStop. So Low Roller Scratcher, so you don't get timed out. We don't give a shit about GameStop. Nobody in here does, I don't think. And if anybody else does, speak up. Brian says, I bought an Immaculate out of 99 Travis Kelce for $10 shipped. eBay auctions, there you go. That's why I still have 492 remaining this month, because I don't want to give away deals like that. I already give enough deals away. 72 tops high numbers. John says, Mantle, Ruth, all the goats get a pseudo review before going live on eBay. Yes, Mantle, Ruth, those are some others. Kobe, MJ. George says, that's a good idea, Brian. Mikey listed a bunch of cards from Terre Haute on the road. Hopefully people check out my store. A lot of great cards coming soon. Mikey says, my mom wants to know how you get Goodwill pallets in Indiana. I don't know. I can say there's Goodwill pallets, and there's not just Goodwill pallets for baseball cards. They have Goodwill pallets for a little bit of everything. You can always check out Goodwill auctions. I don't know if there's anything for local pickup in Indiana. Let's just type in Goodwill auctions. Oh. It's shopgoodwill.com. Let's type in pallet on shopgoodwill.com. Did we do pallet? How come it's not coming up? Let's do it again. Pallet. All right. Only 6. Okay, it looks like they're not using pallet. We're going to have to type in wholesale. Yes. So, okay, let's share the screen. So you can buy, and when I was at the estate sale, I was talking. There was a lady there waiting with me, and we were just kind of talking about things. And she buys, I think, Matchbox cards or something in pallets or bulk. Maybe it wasn't, but you can get jeans. Now they're not by the pallet, but they are bulk. Wholesale grab bag. These are at auction. There's I don't know if you want to bid on this one. I see a lot of junk. I see some 90 Donruss. Ugh. But there's a Kobe card in there. We got some binders. I think that's a Michael Jordan. What's in here? A Kyle Seager bobblehead. We've got a whole bunch of Mark McGuire's. There's a cheap ass Kobe card. It's not even worth $3. This, it looks like small enough it might ship. Let's see, wholesale bulk lot. It's only 19 pounds. I don't know what. Shipping. So yeah, it's looks like there's a $3 handling price plus shipping. So you'll have to pay real shipping plus $3. Let's see. Let's just go through what else? The miscellaneous, just junk. Looks like random toys. So you can buy. Now a lot of this stuff is at auction, so might sell for more than it's worth. Where are we at? John says I sold a Wemby and Caitlin Clark last night. I feel like I finally made it. There you go. I wonder if they were national exclusives that John sold. George says you're going to eventually get some 55 Bowmans to list. I just got to get time to go to the post office sometime. Brian says, John, you are the chosen one. Jody says some of us in the group were in the eBay beta about 3 months ago. Philly Joe says, I tried to run eBay AI. I'm not a beta, I guess. John says, because eBay AI is free and Cardi the Pro is a premium service. I cannot see a reason to use AI for my store. First rule of beta, don't talk about beta. Maybe Burbank talked. And John's right with this comment. I mean, not everybody needs to or should use AI. It's not for everybody. George says, I use AI all the time for work. Save me a lot of time searching for vocab photos by generating them as well as coming up with questions. I like it. Johnny M's in the house. Good morning. American Arbitrage pulled a 1-of-1 Caitlin Clark. Wow. That's a huge card out of a silver pack at the National. That's a huge card. Wonder what that would go. Wonder what that sells for. George says you need to be sorry for White Sox fans. Yes, I'm also sorry for White Sox fans. I'm sorry for White Sox fans, and I'm sorry for Royals fans. That's it. Nobody else gets my apologies. Schwarber was a 197 DH last year and was top 20 MVP voting. Well, he also hit like 42 home runs. Christopher Morel has 16 or 18. Not the same. Brian says Marlins don't trade. They flip players instead of baseball. Also, going back to this, right. Going back to this, the rest of the Phillies lineup also hit. When you have an entire lineup that can't hit, and you have a guy that you can get something, guy that can't hit, make the trade. Shane's in the house. The Rays got more of a haul for Jason Adam than the Marlins did for Jazz. Yeah. Some like head scratchers. I agree with Brian. Schwarber should still be a Cub. I would much rather have Kyle Schwarber as a DH than Christopher Morel. John says, how much first to market items do you have lingering in your store that will be there in perpetuity? Probably a lot. I mean, probably a 2024 top series 1 Jason Adam. Like a lot of that stuff will be there. And a lot of the stuff that you would, and here's kind of the conundrum with what I like. This is kind of what this is my wheelhouse. I made my like, in reality, should I wipe clean of some of that stuff? Probably, but some of it does eventually move. And that's another thing that as I approach the 60,000 listings, and now as I do a premium store, should I go back and cleanse 2024 tops? I should probably go and just take all of those out. Like the shelf life, do I still sell? I've probably sold a 2024 tops here in the last 24 hours. Like they're still selling, but I don't know what will sell. Let's go through. I'm going to go through all orders and we'll just see what the last 2024 tops is. But a lot of these are listed for 99 cents. Free shipping, I lose money. But I'm hoping somebody comes in and wants to buy 12 2024 tops. Let's see. We want the most recent 2024 tops. So the last one sold yesterday, last night, less than 12 hours ago. Ryan Presley, Houston Astros. And actually the same buyer bought 2 cards. So I made money on the deal. He bought a couple Houston Astros, Ryan Presley and Mauricio Dubon. So that was just last night. You know, I sold a Stephen Kwan, 2 Stephen Kwans. That was also net positive sale. Sold a Joey Votto Saturday. So I've sold just this weekend. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I guess just 5. So over this past weekend, I sold 5 cards. It's a net positive, but it's very small margin on those particular sales. But as I get closer, and now I'll be paying more per listing from a subscription standpoint, they're not free listings. It's 60,000 $60 divided by 60,000 listings. That's the price you pay per listing. And then I consider the bubble mailers kind of added value. Now, when I step up to Anchor Store, it's going to be 100,000 listings, $300 for 100,000 listings. So that price point per listing goes up based on the subscription rate. What have I been doing the last few months? I've been cherry picking. Now, the rip and flip, it's easy money. It's profitable. 2024 Top Series 1, it's profitable. Topps Big League, that probably was probably not worth it. Probably not profitable to do it again next year. Topps Heritage, profitable. Bowman, I didn't do a case. I bought 3 boxes, I think. It ended up being a win, even taking into account the Jason Dominguez that got returned. It did resell for $100. So that was still a net positive. Bowman is more of those for funsies for me. It's kind of it's a hobby in that regard that I hopefully make money on, but it's not a business decision. Like I'm going to buy Bowman to make money. No, if I make money, it's kind of getting lucky, and I got lucky with my Bowman this year. So the rip and flip, it also drives in a lot of traffic. There's a lot of periphery sales. People come in. Oh, you've got Topps 2024 Topps. Oh, I want this too. So that's the benefit to the ripping and flipping of first to market Topps Series 1, Heritage, Bowman, etc. But I should consider going in, and I probably have. I can go look. Let's go to listings, active listings, and see how many 2024 Topps Series 1 listings I have active in my store. Actually, this is going to be difficult because there's going to be Topps Heritage, Topps Big League, 2024 tops, because it's not, doesn't say series 1 in the title. We're just searching item title. So there's, between all of those sets, 733 items. There's a Leody Taveras gold auto from Topps Big League that I've got listed for $50. That's never going to sell at $50. Let's just go in and edit that. Maybe tonight I run some auctions on some of this stuff. It's like, well, the time has passed. So we're going to, let's just do $20 on this or best offer. So if any Texas Rangers fans, Leody Taveras gold auto of 50, it's now $20 or best offer. Let's see where we at. Brian says you walk into Card Show and there's a booth with a CT scanner and iron and Kurt's Card Care. There you go. Have a one-stop shop. Brian says they should also offer CT scans for folks who prospected Wander Franco. Wah, wah. John says, how do you think Fanatics will handle other manufacturers on their platform? I can see algorithms working behind the scenes in Topps' favor. I think you're right. It wouldn't surprise me if some of the other manufacturers were a little suppressed. Of course, with algorithms, we will never know. But it wouldn't surprise me if that happened. Because you can certainly bump up. You can bump up certain customers, and I know this for a fact that behind the scenes deals are made. Burbank is certainly going to get bumped to the top without fees on that Fanatics platform. Now, I don't know that as a fact, but I'm going to assume, and I'm probably going to assume correctly on that. Jordan says, I remember when you got killer deals on Shop Goodwill. Yeah, I don't think you get killer deals anymore. John says, I've had the option to use AI for months now during listing, and I skip over each time. You should try it just to see if you like it. Mr. Archer, good morning. John says, Command V is the best AI there is. Orlando says, sorry for me, a lifetime Marlins fan. JW, good morning. Do you think they'll get rid of Nico? I hope not. Victor thinks Nico will be next. I don't think so. I think Jamison Tyone is scheduled to pitch tonight. He's probably the most tradable asset the Cubs have. And what I mean by tradable, they're not going to trade Shota Imanaga. Is he tradable? Like he would be if he were available. He would be the hottest trade commodity the Cubs have. They're not going to trade Shota Imanaga. They're not going to trade Justin Steele. But Jamison Tyone, he's tradable. He's scheduled to start tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets scratched. Now, Jed Hoyer sucks. I hope he's gone. I don't think he's going to be gone. Based on yesterday's trade, I think Jed Hoyer gets another year, which I think is the end of his I think next year is, he hasn't been re-upped. I think next year, I think he's under contract through next year. So I think there's, like your job's fine, but if you don't make, like, we're not going to renew your contract or sign an extension unless some changes are made on the field. And I think Jed's kind of in I need to save my ass mode. I think it's too far gone this year. There's too many teams that the Cubs are only like 6 games out of the wild card. However, there's like 9 teams above that. There's only like 2 or 3 National League teams below them. So it's highly unlikely. I don't know I'm sure there's analytics out there that give you the percentage that the Cubs make the playoffs, and it's going to be pretty low. Now, there are outliers that have beat those odds in the past, but highly unlikely. So I think Jed's kind of in save his ass mode. Jamison Tyone is a trade piece that would he help the Cubs in 2025? Oh, yeah, absolutely, especially if he continues pitching like he did this year. But he's pitched so well this year, they can get a nice return that will help them in 2025 and beyond. I don't know what Jamison Tyone's contract status. He might only be signed through next year. So you get And since he is under contract for at least another year, you get that surplus value in Tyone because he's not a rental. So I think Tyone gets traded. I think now with the Morel trade, I think Nico's safe for this year, because I don't think the future, Nico could be the future at second base. But I think they're kind of betting on Matt Shaw, who is raking in the minor leagues. I think he just recently got promoted to AAA, and he's been hitting really well. So Matt Shaw could be, and Matt Shaw is not a third. Like, he is worse than Morel at third base defensively. So but we don't know what Matt Shaw can do in the big leagues. So I think Nico's going to be safe this year, but maybe who knows on the development of Matt Shaw, Nico could be a goner in the future, but I don't think he's going to get traded. I think a couple of the relievers will get traded. The Cubs traded for Nate Pearson from Toronto. I think that was a move made partially because the Cubs also, there's an organization can only have, and I think the number is 165 active minor league players in the organization. And the Cubs with the draft, and so once the draft picks are signed, there's going to be, they had a net. So they lost 2 players in yesterday's trade, and I think they lost net 1 player or 2 in the Pearson trade. And I think they were 6 with the draft picks, with all 20 draft picks. They were at 6 over the limit, but that's not official until those contracts are signed for the draft picks. So they need to get, they're either going to have to trade away some minor league guys, some prospects, or just bodies in the minor leagues, or release a couple of guys. So I think there's going to be a combination here over the next few weeks of some guys are going to be lost in trade. And then probably a couple will be casualties of just, we're going to release you. So I think there's also going to be a couple deals probably involving, which is where we saw Yohendrick Pinango go to Toronto for Nate Pearson. Pinango and who was the other? They traded away another player. Pinango was Rule 5. He will be Rule 5 eligible in the offseason in December for the Rule 5 draft. He was not going to make the 40-man. So basically the Cubs either have to put him on the 40-man or he's exposed to the Rule 5 draft. If you trade them now, you can get something in return. So that's when you see some of these minor league guys that get traded. They're coming up on their 6th-year free agency, and they're going to be eligible for the Rule 5 draft, if not put on the 40-man. And Pinango he had no place on the Cubs 40-man in the organization. So that's why a player like him got traded. And there's probably going to be a couple more. The Cubs have some decent players that are 6th-year free agents, many of them pitchers that have dealt with some injuries. So you may see some names of those guys. Cole Franklin comes to mind. I'm trying to think of who else is Riley Thompson, who's at AAA, Riley Martin, who's at AAA. So some of those guys are coming up on their Rule 5 year. So it'll be interesting to see how things work out. We're going to talk about that Morel trade. Let's see where we at. John says, I guess my point is it cheaper to clear out former first to market items that will be there forever or upgrade your store? Is it cheaper? That's a tough decision, which I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Some of the items, yes. Some of the items, certainly. Some of them I just need to reprice. The base, it's probably wiser for me to 2024 Topps Series 1. I'm done with this. This is going to go in a bulk sale. The autographs that were overpriced, that are overpriced now, but were well, were probably overpriced to begin with because they didn't sell, right? Uh, that stuff like the Leody Tavares, drop it in price and just kind of keep an eye on it and maybe throw it to auction. Because at this point, I've got my money. And this is I need to think. So, John, I thank you for bringing this up because it does make me think a little more. Because should I have, if I'm making a few sales a day or a few sales a weekend on 99-cent cards that are taking up listings, even if there's quantity in there, is it really worth it? Especially now as we get towards the end of the baseball season, people aren't buying 2024 Top Series 1 base anymore. I'm not listing, unless it's a star, I'm not listing base commons from 2021, 2022. That's just, that's junk. It's going in a bulk sale. So this does give me a little like, okay, maybe in August, that's what I work on. And instead of going to the anchor store in August, I work on purging some of the junk from 2024 Tops or 2024 Big League, some of those 99-cent cards. Some of the inserts, autos, parallels, those can go to auction. And it's like, I've already made my money, whether it's a win or a lose. It's just revenue at this point. So that's some good thinking. And my auctions, I have almost 500 auctions still. I've only used 8 this month. Maybe I utilize some of this stagnant and overpriced inventory and throw it at 99-cent auctions and go. So that's why I like this chat. Even though I'm stubborn and don't take a lot of advice, this advice I may take. Victor thinks Nico will be next. John says, by the way, the 70s stuff is worth keeping. In the store, it has a better chance to sell than F2M items. I don't know what F2M. Or take the F2M to GameStop. Victor says, Suzuki should DH and Belly take over right field. Yeah, I kind of like that. The issue the Cubs have is like the position, like there's just everybody's out of position, it seems. Like there is no third bit. Well, there is now with Isaac Paredes. So that was an issue. First base, Michael Busch. And first base is kind of one of the, like, you can plug in about anybody at first base. Right field, you've got Suzuki out there, and Suzuki, kind of a liability out there. And you got Bellinger when he was healthy, and Pete Crow Armstrong. Just give that to PCA, and he's got to develop. The thing with Pete Crow Armstrong is, I had this conversation in one of my Cubs group chats, where PCA is a guy that needs to figure it out now in the big leagues. Sending him back to AAA is he's aced AAA. And you've got an all-star defensive player. You need the offense to come around because he's below average on offense at the plate, and he's got to figure out big league pitching. And he's not going to do that. He's aced AAA, and sending him back again is not going to help him at the big league level. He's got to figure it out at the big league level, or he doesn't. So you've just got to let it ride. And this is the perfect time. Basically, the Cubs are out of contention. Mathematically, yes, they can still make the postseason, but that window is closing. And this is a great opportunity to give some of the young guys to get time to figure it out, like PCA. Maybe start an F2. What is F2M? Oh, first to market. Okay, I get it. So it's easier to purge. John's just rambling. Let's see. Johnny M says, if you ran a 10% off store-wide sale, you would probably sell 1,000 additional cards in a week. I don't think so. JW says, like the hat, hit that like button. If I didn't list some decent cards, I would run another 50% off sale, but I've listed too many. I guess I could cherry pick. Would I do a 50? Because 50% off sales, by the way, are great ways. And I don't know. I have a big store following So my results may not be the average results for everybody. I don't want you to hear me say that and then you try it and you're like, oh, this sucks. Nobody bought any cards from me. But when I've run, in my experience, with 50% off, and I sell mostly, the funny thing, I'm worried about some of this stuff like, oh, I don't want to sell this at 50% off, but let's do it anyway. And a lot of that stuff doesn't sell. It's a lot of the 2024 Series 1 junk. So maybe I do a 50% off sale this week, and I got to get caught up on shipping. I have over 200 orders to ship. What am I at? 200, I think 250, 242 orders to ship. So it probably won't be this week, but maybe I do cherry pick, and maybe it's items under $20 are if that's a setting I can do, or just cherry pick like, oh, these items I'm not going to do. JW says, I heard the Dodgers are really interested in Horner. John says, Orlando acting like he's 30 years old. He feels 30 at the National. He forgets about the lifetime he had before there was a Marlins. So I'm curious, Orlando, who was your baseball team before the Marlins, before the Miami Marlins? Now, the Marlins have been around for 30, just around 30 years, right? 32 years, 31, 32 years. John says, remember the salad days of mid-July 2024 when Bo was dreaming of Cubs being a buyer at the trade deadline? There was a time where it's like, I don't think there was a time where I thought the Cubs would buy. I didn't want them this year, like from the get-go. This is just, I knew this was not a good team. Oh, 2024. Wait, this is 2020. 2023, different. Last year was different. This year, I've never wanted the Cubs to be buyers at the deadline. Now, I do want them to trade some prospects. I still want them to trade prospects. But obviously not for rentals. I mean, it would take, you got a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's under contract through next year, but he's also like a DH type of player or first base. And it's like, okay, not really position of need. But it would take some significant prospects to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But something like that where the Cubs could trade some of their prospects because soon they're going to be suspects and get somebody that can help you in the future, meaning the near future, like next year. JW says, are you ready for the Bears game on Thursday? I'm not. No, I'm not. I didn't realize. Didn't training camp has training camp started? When does Hard Knocks start? These are the important questions. Yeah, I'm not sure. John says it's on Comedy Central. Not this year. The Bears, I'm going to run it back, and I'm going to say the Bears are going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the division and make the playoffs. I'm just going to keep saying that. I'm going to say that until it comes true. Whenever it does, the Bears are winning the NFC North this year. And I said that last year. John says, Orlando, you look like you're a third of my age. Loved that Walter Johnson. Mikey says, is there a way to be notified when pallets go live? That I don't know. Orlando says, thank you, John. I'm so excited about my Johnson autographed photo. Ooh, that's big. John says, Goodwill isn't that sophisticated. The deer don't come to you. You got to get up early and go into the woods. Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to go out and hunt. Seems so hard on the website. Never done it before. Yep. You got to go. You got to be the hunter, man. John says, I've searched. Usually see them in North Texas, Arizona, and Minnesota. Yes. Never on the East Coast. Not all Goodwills condense multiple card dumps into a pallet. What John said, 100%. Mikey is going to the Chicago National, already saving for it. I will be there. We're gonna do a get together, Hobby Evolution get together again next year. We did one last year, so of course we're a year away. So we'll talk more about that next summer. John says, Mikey, you have a lady friend now. You aren't going anywhere. Uh-oh. First to market is a great way to say first. F2M is a great way to say first to market. Copyright pending. Just like TG1C is a great way to say two girls, one cup. Orlando says, Mikey, don't tease us that you're going to the National. We need to meet you. Absolutely. Alex G's in the house. What's going on? The last time I ran a 20% off sale, I was surprised by the amount of sales and what items sold. Yes, it is surprising. Like, I do a 50% off sale, and I think it's going to be like all my higher dollar cards. And I mean, higher dollar is a subjective term. I think of $20 and up is higher dollar for me. And it's a lot of 99-cent cards. And it's a lot of like some stuff. It's like, oh, wow, this has been in my store for 5 years. Orlando says Yankees and Orioles both had spring trading in South Florida. I did know that. I've seen a video. I saw some videos, or I don't know, maybe it was with Dr. Beckett on his podcast or some of your videos where you were talking about going to spring training as a kid. Now I remember. Matty Ice says, was great to get to meet you at the National Orlando. Fun times. Brian says, Bears win 5 games and have 3 starting quarterbacks this year. There, I said it. Wow, Brian. What? I'm going to say the Bears win 10 games, 10-7, and Caleb Williams, dare I say, rookie of the year? I don't know. I don't think Caleb Williams will be rookie of the year. That's a pipe dream, but I think the Bears win 10 games. I don't think they'll have 3 starting quarterbacks. It wouldn't surprise me if Tyson Bagent is the backup, I think. And I don't know who else is in that quarterback room. John says Brian ain't wrong. Haters, don't hate. Surprise, no Kurt's card care booth at the National. Kurt's card care was set up in the men's room, hence the long lines. Kurt looks like he hangs out in the bathrooms without cleaning stuff. Mikey will have to convince my lady friend to go to the National. Mikey. John says, Mark, 10-7 down, 10-7 down, and put it on the bulletin board. I will do that. Damn right I will. 10-7, baby. So Christopher Morel, we'll finally talk about an hour and 2 minutes in. Christopher Morel trade. Cubs dealt Morel along with reliever Hunter Bigge and another relief pitcher, Ty Johnson, to the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for Isaac Paredes. It looks like it's Isaac, but it's Isaac, who is a former Cubs farmhand. In fact, the Cubs traded in one of the worst, like in hindsight, looking back, it was one of the worst Cubs trades in Theo Epstein's regime. It was Jeimer Candelario and Isaac Paredes to the Detroit Tigers for Alex Avila and Justin Wilson. Now, you say, well, why did the Cubs trade him then? Well, because they were like 18 years old in single A, and the Cubs needed a reliever in Wilson and needed a backup catcher in Avila. Neither of those guys coming back worked out for the Cubs in 17. But the Cubs were buyers, and they bought. And that's one of those trades where 2 prospects actually turned out to be really good Major League Baseball players. And ironically, the Cubs traded for Jeimer Candelario last year at the trade deadline. Now they trade for Isaac Paredes this year at the trade deadline. Isaac Paredes was an all-star this year. Christopher Morel was not. The thing about Isaac Paredes is he's a decent defensive third baseman. Christopher Morel is not. Morel is basically a DH who can't hit. Paredes has a 2.6 WAR, John's favorite stat, 2.6 WAR in 2024. He's got 16 home runs, a 245 batting average, 55 runs batted in. He's got a 357 OBP, a 435 slug, and he's a 792 OPS. Again, he was an all-star this year. Christopher Morel, meanwhile, this year has a 0.1 WAR, 18 home runs, a 199 batting average, 51 batted in. He does have 7 steals. Paredes doesn't have any steals. Morel's OBP is 302, slug 373, OPS 675. And again, he is a negative defensive player at third base. So I was more like, I love Christopher Morel, the player, I love Christopher Morel, the person. He's a great guy, great clubhouse guy, great teammate, but he's hitting 199. Doesn't have the power of a 199 DH like Kyle Schwarber. Exciting, but a great smile and all that stuff, doesn't affect the win-loss record. And so I think it's an upgrade with Isaac Paredes, where you get a solid third baseman. You're an upgrade there defensively. You're an upgrade offensively. 50, almost 50 points higher batting average. So I think all those things are important. It sucked getting rid of Hunter Bigge. I think he's going to be a potential closer in Major League Baseball. Ty Johnson's just kind of a warm body. I think he was just kind of a throw-in to get their minor league organizational numbers down. So I think it was a great trade. Again, I'll miss the excitement. I'll miss that smile of Christopher Morel. But on paper and what they do on the field, it's an upgrade for the Chicago Cubs. Kind of a shocker when I saw that news, but it's like, you know what? Looking at the number, I really like this trade. So what else will the Cubs do? Remains to be seen. We've got about, what do we have? About 36 hours, 34, 32 hours until the trade deadline. It's tomorrow afternoon. Jameson Taillon could be gone. We'll see. He's supposed to start tonight. So if he's a late scratch, we know why. He's getting dealt, and I think he could net a nice return. I can't see any other big names being traded by the Cubs. I think it's basically a soft. Yesterday's trade wasn't a sell, wasn't a buy. It was just, it helped out both teams, I think. Jameson Taillon trade would signal a sell. I think it's going to be a soft sell. I think Taillon will be gone. I think Mark Leiter Jr. out of the bullpen, potentially Hector Neris, because obviously that's not working. He's not going to bring much back. I could see I could see a soft buy where the Cubs get rid of some prospects and get somebody with a year plus control on their contracts. So, but I could also see not much happening. Jed Hoyer really fumbled the bag 2 years ago when Wilson Contreras was arguably the hottest trade commodity on the market, and no deal got done. And they didn't get nothing for Contreras. They got a supplemental draft pick, but they could have had something else. So I don't know if we'll see. We'll see what happens here over the next day and a half. Where are we at? Mikey says we actually have been dating since May. Wow, Mikey, but went social media official the other day. Is that why Mikey's been not as prevalent in the chat here recently? Social media, Facebook official, Mikey. Congrats. Search and rescue cards. What's going on? Good morning. Stuke is here. What's happening? So that's what we had for today. It'll be interesting, the trade deadline and what teams will do. Today we talked Cubs heavy. That's what I do. So like and subscribe the video. Check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Check out some of my stale inventory and buy it up. Buy 7 or more items at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout, 99centcards.com. Upcoming this weekend, I don't have anything going on. Following weekend is the Janesville Card Show, Sunday, August 11th, Janesville, Wisconsin. I'll be set up dollar boxes, probably some dime boxes, and maybe a couple quarter boxes. So that's Sunday, August 11th. Next Madison Card Show is Saturday, August 24th. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 200 tables. We'll run back the fourth room. The TCG only room is back for August. 200 tables, 4 rooms, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, Madison, Wisconsin, Saturday, August 24th. It's free admission. 200 tables and free admission. Come check it out Saturday, August 24th. All righty. Have a great Monday. Like, subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow morning. See you then.